cleaning up after the storm. So I'll read the law, and then I'll ask for comments. And I would like you to keep it to this law, because we're held by restrictions on how we do this. It's a 30-day point to have this public hearing from the time that we advertised it. We don't have to pass the law. This just allows us to do so if we need to. It's a precautionary thing, and most towns are doing it. It's not a big deal. The big deal is when we do our budget, if we come in over 2%. So I'll read the law, and then we'll take your comments, and Sylvia will write them down. Proposed law number 1 of 2011, Town of Olive, County of Ulster. The local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3C, Section 1. Legislative intent. It is the intent of this local law to override the limit on the amount of real estate taxes that may be levied by the Town of Olive pursuant to General Municipal Law C3, or 3C, and to allow the Town of Olive to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2012 that requires a local property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law 3C. Section 2. The authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of the General Municipal Law 3C, which specifically authorizes the town board to override the tax levy limit by the adoption of the local law approved by vote of 60% of the town board. Section 3, tax levy limit override. The town board of the Town of Olive, County of Ulster, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2012 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in General Municipal Law. Section 4. If any clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law or the application thereof to any person, firm, or corporation or circumstance shall be adjusted by any court of competent jurisdiction to be invalid or unconstitutional, such order of judgment shall not affect, impair, or invalidate the remainder thereof, but shall be confined to its operation to the clause, sentence, paragraph, subdivision, or part of this local law, or in its application to a person, individual, firm, or corporation, or circumstance directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment or order shall be rendered. Section 5, the effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. And that's it. Who would like to comment? Vince?
My name is Vince Barringer, live in Sampsonville. I'm opposed to this law because I don't know if you guys have looked at the papers lately, the Sunday Freeman for real estate section, see the number of houses that are for sale in the Town of Olive. And a house in the Town of Olive is almost impossible to sell. I know, I've had mine on the market for well over a year. I went to an auction on Sunday, this is just a little point of interest, and the place is assessed for over $400,000. And they put it up for auction, and they wanted a bid of $240,000, and they settled for a bid of $135,000. And the next bid was $140,000, and there was no more bids. The gentleman said he wouldn't sell it because he wanted at least $200,000. It did get sold, but I think there was some bickering between them. us people, senior citizens, when I retired from the city in 1992, I felt I had a goodly amount of income and money saved that I could live comfortable for the rest of my life, and that's not the case anymore. And I think it behooves you to live within the 2% that the governor has said, and I know you people say it's not possible sometimes to do so. And I think I have a few ideas that might make it possible. We in the town of Olive have always done things bigger and better than any other town in Ulster County. We pay everyone more money, the town board gets more money, the highway department gets more money. We have 17 men on the highway department here. Town of Rochester has almost twice as much roads, and they do it with 10 men. The town of Marbletown has almost as much road, and they do it with 8 men. So we have 17, we need 10, maybe, 9 or 10. And I have fears that 20 years from now, half the people in the town of Olive will be retired if this regime stays in place. And the other half will be paying high taxes to pay the retirement. And I think that it's time that we settle down and live within our means. Thank you.
Mitch, when I opened, my opening statement was that I was quite confident that we will be below 2%. And secondly, I think there's 13 or 14 people in the highway, not 17.
That'll be 13 with the highway superintendent.
We still have only half as much roads as the town of Rochester, and they do it with 10.
And look at their roads versus ours.
Yes, go ahead, do that. I welcome you to. I welcome you to.
Okay, let's keep it to up here. We're the ones that's supposed to hear the remarks that are going to make any difference, not fighting among yourselves. Anyone else? Yes.
Al Stute from Boyceville. I'm also against this law. The people are hurting just from the general economy and then the flood on top of it. I think the town board ought to look at the funds, separate funds they have set aside, emergency funds. I've been here like 47 years and I've never seen a flood like this one we had. And I think it's a time that if it's necessary, we should be able to tap those funds. If, for what you're talking, we may not go over, it may not be a lot of money, but I think we are looking at tapping those funds rather than raising this thing for 2%.
Thank you. Pat? Or, I'm sorry. Yes.
I'm Ruth Halstead from Sampsonville. If you can't live within your budget, how do you expect us to pay the taxes that keep going up when we're on fixation?
Cindy?
Cindy Johansson, West Shokan. I just look around us. The town of Middletown, which has Margaretville in it, they have a 0% increase this year. Mike Hine, he's going to veto any legislator that tries to come in above 2%. Woodstock, no more than 2%. I think we need to do our best to stay there also.
Woodstock voted doing the same thing that we're doing right now. Yes.
According to today's paper, they argued that point. That's my.
Well, so
that
we're
was my.
doing
They're doing the same thing we're doing right now.
Just about every town is doing this. This is just a precautionary measure in case we have to. Nobody's saying that we want to pay any more taxes than you people do. I mean, we live here too. Liz and I were having a good time doing this. Yes.
Talking to me.
I'm Nancy Risley. I'm on Acorn Hill Road, and I pay over $12,000 a year in taxes on my property. I think that entitles me to make the comment to all of you that I'm really wondering at this point if you're not all committing political suicide. I can tell you right now, the fact that somebody else is doing it is no reason for us to do it. We expect you to assume your responsibility and say no to any increases in this budget. We expect you to keep it under 2%, and we expect you not to pass this law.